Okay, so I saw this on Twitter. It says who dropped the best album. So we got Lotto, Icespice, Megan, and JT. So I want to get my thoughts on all these albums, and then I'm going to rank them. So best album here by far, I think, is Megan's album. I really enjoyed this album. I'm glad she changed the album cover. Side note, but especially stuff like Accent with Gorilla, Rattle's really been my song. Where Are Them Girls At? Paper Together is a really good song. Both Ain't Shit has also really been my jam. Not to mention you have heavy hitters like Hiss and Cobra on this. I thought it was pretty good. There was a couple songs I didn't really particularly go up for on this album per se, but I enjoyed most of the stuff on this album. I thought it was a really good album for her. I feel like she's improving overall. You know, we had the bop. She had moments where she was getting a little bit personal, and she just had good production, some clever songwriting, and just entertainment value. So yeah, I really like Megan. I think she's number one by far. At number two, I guess I'll put JT's album, but I'm not thrilled about it. I actually did not like this album. The only songs that I thought were good was Okay and the intro. Besides that is a job. I don't even think that I'm going to revisit those songs, to be honest with you. Not to mention the fact that she had some transphobic line on this album, I believe, or in one of her songs, and so a lot of my friends are telling me she's taking her aesthetics from trans women, and to be transphobic like that, I don't tolerate that. So I think that that's also a problem with her. But in general, she just did not really do what she needs to do on this album in terms of having, you know, great lyrics or catchy songs or punchlines or production. Like, I think she sampled Push It, Salt and Pepper. And at this point, if you pay the money, they'll clear the sample. That's what it's giving, because I thought that that song was atrocious. And yeah, I just didn't like her delivery and how she was writing on top of the beat on this album in general. I just thought that this wasn't a good album. I don't think that this is something that you should listen to. And also, it's 16 songs of just mid. So yeah, not happy about putting this at number two. And yeah, after Megan, like I said, it's a bunch of mid, but I guess I'll have it at number two. I wouldn't recommend it though. At three, I got Lotto's album Sugar Honey Iced Tea, also known as shit. That's what my friends and I are calling it. And this whole beef that she has with Ice Spice, I think, is stupid. And it's like Ice Spice is winning at this point, because how many times are you gonna throw subliminals in the song and reference shit, making a shit cake? And how many times did she say shit on the album and reference the album title and all that stuff? Like, it's like she had something in her head that she had to do it. Like, if you listen to the album, you'll see exactly what I mean. So she just irritated me with that off rip. But in terms of my thoughts on this album overall, this is one of the worst albums that I have heard this year. This is my first Lotto album. I think Lotto in general isn't for me. I say Lotto, out of every 10 songs, one is going to eat. Like, she just misses consistently for me. And so I have multiple problems with this album. Number one, it's way too long. We should have cut it down. Like, that's one. And she said she worked hard on the sequencing. Yeah, I just didn't really care for the sequencing of it in general, or most of the songs for that matter. And I was waiting for her to really rap on this album, and whenever she's rapping, it's just a bunch of BS. Like, I thought the songwriting on this album particularly wasn't great. I feel like she's doing way too much singing on this, and I need the female rappers to stop trying to put on Doja Cat's wig and trying to be her. Not all of y'all are singers and rappers, and that's okay. Can we stick to rapping? Can we honestly stick to that? Like, it's just getting so tired. Like, in general, like I said, songwriting wasn't giving. The production wasn't my favorite. I thought the features on here, there was a lot of misses, especially that one with Tizo Touchdown in particular. I was just waiting for myself to have a couple bops. You know, I was waiting for there to be that song, and I didn't really get that on this album. The only song I liked on this album was Put It on the Floor, and that's a bonus track, mind you. I didn't like Sunday Service. I thought the hook on that song was particularly weak. I don't get it. Even with the remix, Megan and Flo can only do so much for a trash song, you know, but they carried that song. I genuinely don't get how some people are saying that this is one of the best rap albums of the year, or even for best female rap albums of the year. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Lotto left a lot on the table with this album, and it just was not good in my opinion. I've heard it once, and that's kind of my thoughts on hearing it once. It just really stuck with me how much I dislike this album. I think I'm going to listen to it a time or two again, because I'm supposed to review it on my main channel. That was the plan. Maybe I'll change my mind on it. I wouldn't recommend this album. It just wasn't for me. Let me know if you guys like this album or not, but it just wasn't giving in my opinion. And then at number four is Ice Spice album. I just listened to her and JT like back to back the other day, and my god, like, this album was absolutely terrible. You know, luckily it's only 23 minutes, you know, so only 23 minutes of mid, so at least you didn't have to suffer for an hour like I did with Lotto and with JT, for example. But I heard someone say this and I really agreed. It's like she really stopped trying with this album in terms of writing good hooks and verses and stuff. Like, and this is the part where her not having somebody to kind of check her and say, hey, let's rewrite this chorus. Hey, I feel like you can do better, and just like work on it, and just having a bunch of yes men. That's where it's all shown on this album. I think the songwriting on here is very elementary. The production here left a lot to be desired. Her flows weren't really my favorite. The features were basically trash on this album. You know, the only song that was kind of catchy was the Did It First song with Central C, but it's not something I'm going to replay. I'm not going to replay this album at all. I just played it because I knew I was going to do this video, and so if I'm going to talk about all these, I have to listen to all of them and everything, but I wasn't even originally planning to listen to this album. So, yeah, that is my ranking of all these albums. Basically, Megan number 1 by far. I put JT at number 2. Not thrilled about that. At number 3, I put Latto, and at number 4, I put icespice. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. So, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? How do you rank these albums? What are your favorite songs? And let's continue that conversation.